Rift. I'm happy I caught up because there's so much on those patch notes. I didn't even have time to watch it all, but we are ready for pick and ban here for this titular game number 1. We'll see what these teams are valuing in the current meta right now. As the first ban coming through, is that a Malphite? Am I seeing that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Also, something to notice that Pacific, given that they were 2-0, but I believe they received the side selection priority, and they have gone for the red. That's a bit of a trend that we've been seeing going through, especially with last night's BTN Championships. Of course, Michigan State loving the red side, finding great success. We'll have to see whether Pacific, maybe they're going to follow that line of success.
A lot of focus on the solo laners here for the bans so far. Pepperdine taking away 3 off the table right away. There's the Malphite, the Shen, and the Yasuo. When we looked at the champion pools of these teams, none of these really surprised me that much, actually. Pacific, though, taking away the Heimerdinger.
So none of the bans surprised you?
None of the bans surprised me. I mean,
okay.
Malphite is one of the top play champions for
I was about to be like, these bans, so, because this is not going to be, your father's meta.
No,
right?
this feels more like
Daddy's
comfort
meta.
pick meta. This is what the teams are comfortable playing and the players on those teams specifically. But high priority on that Caitlyn. Pepperdine grab it right away. Strong lane bully. There's not a ton that can really destroy it in lane right now.
Right, and I think especially with the Kais and the Xayah somewhat falling off in the meta, you're looking for things. And especially also with the new, not Essence Reaver, but it's the Storm Razors. Really a great item for Caitlyn early on. It gives you the crit, gives you the damage, gives you the attack speed, and lets you just bully out that early game, like you're saying.
I've seen a few builds with her. I've seen Stormrazor and I've seen Infinity Edge double crit cloak,
right?
To get 75% crit and also have the enhanced crit from the Infinity Edge, because her headshot has really good scaling.
Yeah, that's doing a lot of damage, but you got to get through some decent meatballs here on Pacific's side. They got Swain and they got Kled. Now, one thing in particular, Returned, I know we were taking a look at this. Where do we think that Swain's going to be going?
I'm about 99% sure that's going to support. Google Play Card has been a avid Swain player. And especially also with I've seen some different things. In solo queue, I've seen the Conqueror Swains really doing some damage towards those mid stages of the game.
Conqueror Swain.
Yeah, I mean, especially with your ultimate too, you can stack that pretty quickly. Yeah. And then also on to Caitlyn, who's somebody who does have a bit of range. Swain has that extra range, especially if you have somebody who has a little bit of lockdown maybe in the lane with you. You can really get onto her, but speed of lockdown, you got the Nautilus.
Nautilus and Orange, so 2 beefy boys to surround the Caitlyn with, both with fantastic use of CC in team fights. So it seems like Pepperdine have a trend that they're going for it, and it is have the option to engage when they want to.
Yeah, and I feel like playing League of Legends in a team environment, that's ultimately the easiest way to play the game, is to have everybody just engage. It means that there can't be really any miscommunication. There's a lot of, when you 1-3-1, when you kind of kite around, when you have to kite backwards, there's a whole lot of when are we engaging, when are we not engaging. These are just clear go buttons, and that's why banning things like even a Malphite make a lot of sense in this competitive environment.
And I'm looking at, again, we touched on it briefly, the rank differential between these teams, and when I'm thinking of a team that has high-ranked players all across the board, I think that having that strong team fight is very, very useful as a tool. But for Pacific, it's all about eye carry. What is this mid laner going to get? They haven't locked in a mid laner yet. They take the Zac jungle. So now they're targeting some of those jungle bans away from Pepperdine here.
Yeah, I think that Pacific, whenever you pick up the Zac, you have to be concerned, okay, what is going to, beat me up in the jungle? You don't want to lose too much farm, especially in the new meta where there's no catch-up XP on 9.23. You have to be really cautious. Actually, a little bit shocked I didn't see anything along the lines of maybe a little bit more towards the Olaf, the Rek'Sai still being up, but there are definitely a lot of options if Pepperdine really want to get aggressive in that jungle.
And again, champ pool, important to note here. They took out the Evelynn very early on in that first round. So this is potentially them doing their research and thinking, okay, outside of the J4 and the Evelynn, we're confident that we can handle any other junglers that Pepperdine puts up. And Katarina on Santomasi, one of the most played champions of that player in particular.
Yeah, and when you see these types of things where people have it's not like one tricks or anything like that. It's more like you have picks. Yeah, you have a lot of unique comfort picks that are not. I feel like there's always a meta, but everybody has their own kind of personal meta of this is what I really like to play, and everybody just goes back to their own personal meta in these types of games. Because when you got the LCS level where you have to play the things that are good and discover the things that are going to be powerful, and then below that it's the academy level. You have things like I'm really good at this.
You're working on expanding your champion.
Exactly, you're working on making sure that you're comfortable with everything. And then there's the level below that in collegiate where you have things that you are really damn good at that you win games with, and people won't question question that, right? Because you are able to topple the opponents, and you're seeing things like Katarina be banned away, and even things like Malphite, because people are respecting that.
And things like the Zed. Zed and Yasuo, two of the most played champions for iCarry, so not going to have access to either of those. And there's the Fizz locked in for Pepperdine. That's a bold blind pick.
That is an aggressive blind pick for sure. Is going to potentially be in a little bit of trouble in the early games, known as Fizz. You know, before ulti, kill pressure's a little bit low, and let's see how Pacific respond. They do save iCarry for that counter. You can go something aggressive, like I'm looking the Syndra if you really want to lay on the pressure early game. If you want to go a little bit later, you have,
What did you just say?
you can Syndra for early. You just beat them up. You just put Qs down. I feel like I'm not being agreed with here.
Zyrian, what's your rebuttal?
I think that Syndra is like, I think Fizz is one of the hardest counters to
Into
Syndra. Yeah.
I mean, the
One
playful
of the
trickster
hard-
being
Okay, so
able to
maybe
dodge away
don't play
a
the
lot.
Syndra, but
We'll see. Mordekaiser being hovered right now, and it's important to know Gragas was locked in as a jungler for Pepperdine, so not something crazy aggressive that will get up in your face, but still has a strong early game. But the answer from Pacific, yeah, they lock in the Mordekaiser. Is that a Kled mid?
it would make sense if it was going to be a Kled mid to some extent, mostly because putting the Fizz on the back shelf, I'm putting Syndra on the back shelf for now, but having the 2 health bars, so having Kled not being able to just be complete 100 to 0, you get a little bit of reset, does help against an assassin like the Fizz, but just having extra defensiveness, I think, especially also being able to lock in an assassin like Fizz into the ultimate, because what assassins like to do is they like to hit you one shot and then run away.
Yeah.
That's what the Mordekaiser's ult does. It keeps Fizz there because if the ultimate doesn't kill, the club will.
These teams are just swapping all over the place. I think we had like 5 different role swaps there, but at the end of the day, it will be the Mordekaiser mid with the Kled top lane. I don't mind this. I feel like either one would be okay for Pacific. For me, it comes down to which one do you want to put iCarry on? Which one do you think iCarry will have the bigger impact on? So they opted for that Mordekaiser. In return, I think you make a good point. Just being able to lock down that Fizz, even in a team fight, if you just say, okay, I'm just going to keep my Kai'Sa alive by ulting the Fizz,
Yep.
1v1 the assassin, I should be able to take him on in that 1v1. That's
Super
a
good.
great tool. Yeah.
I think it's a super good idea. You have good wave clear. You also have durability as a mid laner, which a lot of mid laners don't have that. So Galio, Mordekaiser, kind of the ones that you would go for.
So are you favoring that to Pacific then? Because we got to give our predictions. I think looking at these compositions, I like how much teamfight potential Pepperdine has. So I'm thinking Pacific, it's still going to be tough for them to actually match some of these 5v5s just based on the amount of CC and lockdown that Pepperdine got. So I'm giving it to Pepperdine, but what do you think, Zyrian?
I'm going to go with University of the Pacific.
Okay.
I feel like they have a good idea of what they want to play. They have a good counter matchup in the mid lane for themselves. And then that bottom lane, I think that, you know, as long as they can avoid the Nautilus, then they'll be okay. So that's the worry for me. But I do think that they'll be able to pull this one out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really close matchup, but I do have to give it to Pacific as well. I think that they picked themselves some nice side lane, and more solo lanes rather. Like to see that as they get a bit towards the later stages of the game. It is going to be really interesting because I think that, like you mentioned before, that bot lane, the Caitlyn plus the Nautilus, is going to be the main threat that I see for Pepperdine, but Pacific I think still takes at the end of the day.
I just want to make a quick point here. I am 100% pick accuracy when my analysts disagree with me.
Really?
So it's happened once that I guessed differently, or I predicted. This is scientific. This is analysis. But I just pressure's on. The two of you know. Hate to say it.
Damn.
So Pacific also 2-0'd Pepperdine last time they played against each other. I think that's another important part to note here. From what we saw, it was around the performance of iCarry. So Mordekaiser, I'm going to bring it back to this discussion. Is this the type of pick that we like to see a star carry play on?
Well, I think so, because also at the same time, they picked red side to intentionally counterpick mid lane. That's what it seemed to be, is they wanted to counterpick mid. They wanted to know what they were playing into for their star player, like you're saying. So I think it's a very intentional strategy of having him set up to succeed and being able to counterpick with the Mordekaiser.
Sure.
Right, and when you're talking about a solo carry, like if this game's going in like iCarry just has a target on its back, you probably want to have Mordekaiser above nearly anyone else. If you get 2-man gank, you just bop, boopity boppity bop, and you press R, and all of a sudden it's a 1v1.
Is that like the
it's just that simple. That is
the audio that goes
term,
along
fact,
with
yes.
pressing R, boopity bop?
I'm waiting for like fairy godmother Mordecai's. It's like bippity boppity bop boop.
I want one where he has a big squeaky hammer, and then when he throws it down like.
No, when he ults you, you're in a giant pumpkin. You just start going to town.
No, we got
pumpkin
two
carriage.
skins.
Wait, what?
We got two skins. We have like the squeaky hammer, and we have the fairy godmother.
Yeah, I want the.
I don't think you get the fairy godmother.
I don't
the
think we
squeaky
could.
hammer.
If it's a squeaky hammer, it's like a ball pit that you get ulted into, right?
I'm into
See,
that.
Riot needs to. They need to think about outsourcing some skin ideas because I think we got some gold over here.
I think
We'll just throw it on Reddit. It's fine.
Yeah, this Mordekaiser, he's got a squeaky hammer. He bops it, makes the sound, and then when he ulties, it puts you in like a clown circus. And
It's like a bear on a unicycle.
Like on the sides and stuff.
100% of proceeds go straight to supporting North American solo queue.
Yeah, oh God. and then the what would the E be? The one where he pulls you back? Does he like lay out a red carpet and then sweep it out from under you?
Oh no, it's like on old timey shows.
Oh, the hook.
Like the thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Just pull it
Give
out
him the cane.
So I'm trying to think, like, would there be any special interactions? Volibear would have to be, like, on a unicycle while he's in that ult, right?
Well, naturally.
Yeah, naturally. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones.
It's not get crazy now.
Well, outside of the skins, I want to bring discussion back to the game that's ahead of us here.
Oh,
I know. I hate to do it. I hate to refocus us.
My favorite one is Trucker Orn.
The what?
Trucker Orn.
Trucker. Ooh.
Where his ulti goes, bah, bah, and then a big rig comes out.
And he's just wearing like a big fat brim
he
hat.
puts the hat on.
Yeah.
No, he's got to be wearing that hat at all times.
And then when he E's, it flies off, and he has to put a new one on.
Yeah, well, when he E's, there's like some exhaust out the back.
Yeah,
that'd be good. That'd be good. I mean, we already have the Scion train, so why can't we get the Trucker Orin? Yeah, I think that's great. But I just want to give a quick update to everyone. There was a technical delay getting into the game, so we just want to make sure for competitive integrity that all players have good internet connection and that there are no technical issues going forward. So we're giving them some time, but it should be starting soon. Gives us a little more opportunity to talk about expectations for this game number 1. We saw the drafts, and it's been so long since I've seen a Swain played in support. I dabbled in it a little bit as a support player, but not successfully, if we're being honest. So what do we think about the Kai'Sa Swain as a duo into that Caitlyn Nautilus?
So I think the first thing that's a little bit concerning about the Kai'Sa side of the matchup is the range disparity. Swain, of course, has a pretty big range, especially with that E, but it is very skill shot reliant. If you have a great Swain player, you can close that distance pretty rapidly. All of a sudden, Kai'Sa, you not only have the stack, but then you're able to get on in a fight. If that Swain does not land claw consistently, Caitlyn just has the ability to outrange you constantly, and then when you're poked down low enough, Nautilus, you got the hooky boy, you just go in. And Kai'Sa is not really that tanky, especially pre-6, so is going to be a little bit on the back foot unless the Swain's able to fight through.
So what you're saying is Nautilus just goes beepity boopity, and
no, that's Mordekai's. Let's not get crazy.
Oh, okay, it's only Mordekai's. I thought that was just everyone's ultimate.
No, it's hooky boy versus
boy.
Bippity boppity boop.
Bippity boppity boop. Zyrene, do you agree with Return's assessment on what that 2v2 would look like?
I agree for the most part. I think that the Swain, it's 100% relies on him landing his E, but it also relies on the Nautilus also not messing up his engagement because it's 2 range champions versus a melee in range. So there's pressure on the Caitlyn from 2 people, whereas the Nautilus has to really land hooks and has to engage when they want to.
Yeah, well, we'll see who's able to engage on whether it's the Swain or the Nautilus, but we are all ready for game number 1. The teams have loaded in onto the Rift, so we're going to hop in with them for this beginning of the day. Brought to you by Grubhub. So we see Pepperdine University not grouping up. They're fanning out, getting all of their bases covered, but there we go, University of the Pacific. I thought they were going to go for an invade. Doesn't look like they're going to full commit to it.
Not yet, at least. Normally, when you're seeing a team stack like this, they either stack in the banana bush, which they're in right now, or the mid lane bush, waiting for someone to walk by. I think it's pretty unlikely that they go for a late invade just because it's very simple for Gragas just to jumpy his way out.
I gotta ask real quick, because we got the pixel brush, we got the mid lane brushes, you call it a banana brush. What do we call the new one? The new one that's like on the terrain banana near the blue buff.
I don't know if it's been...
If it's Ocean?
Yeah.
Depends on the one that's right here.
Yeah, the one that's right there already. You know, it's like that's a new brush.
Oh, yeah.
Has anyone dubbed it? Can we be
it's
the
like
first?
Rune Bush almost. You
Rune
got the little
bush.
rune
hey,
there. Bush.
Rune Bush. I like that.
Rune Bush.
Okay. It's also is that
there
a tombstone?
Is there a rune on the opposite side?
Hey, maybe our observers can take a look at that
blue?
for us.
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? We'll note it. We'll mentally note to check next time Gragas is over at that blue buff. But so far, both junglers starting on the bottom half of the map. No big surprise, as it is the better leash option.
Yeah, and you actually see a pretty defensive start here from Pacific, especially. You see also the ward up on the red buff. Normally, you see, if you're trying to defend against an invade, actually it's a perfect dichotomy, because when you're looking at Pepperdine here on the top side of the map, you have the ward in the river. That's normally what you use to make sure the enemy jungler is not coming into your top side of the map. Pacific, so much more safe, really afraid that there's going to be some sort of wild play coming out of Diamond, perhaps to be signaling that there were some shenanigans in previous matchups between the two teams, but either way, it should be a pretty quiet early game, at least like the first few levels of farming from the junglers, especially because they're not really looking to get into too many kerfuffles.
Yeah, I think both these junglers want to farm. I think the thing is Diamond, what he'll do is he'll farm for his boots, hopefully back and go for a Predator gank, or even just a Predator back to the jungle is always fine too.
But meanwhile, we'll see Ashasi on the Zac actually getting ahead in this clear right now. Finished all the camps on the bot side, is getting to these the top Raptors, whereas Diamond Crevasse, ooh, this might be a cheeky gank through the river right now going to the bot side, because there is an early push here from University of Pacific.
Yeah, and he's got a Nautilus as well, and yep.
Yeah, they're going for this. An early gank here, 3 minutes in. The hook lands on the Google play card. Can't get onto Nicoya. They don't even turn on to it. First blood over to Diamond Crevasse.
And that's a really good game to get off in the bottom side of the map, because we were talking about the pressure going back and forth with two engaged supports. Normally, when you get one side that will win an engage is outright, even if they get engaged on, that just gives you sole possession of the lane. Like now, Swain, you pull me in, boom, we're still a kill up, we still have advantage on you. If that lane goes too much further, it's going to get real scary for the Kaisa in that lane.
And also the Swain just being down on experience now, really going to hurt as you want to hit that level 6 early on. But yeah, taking another look, just a clean gank.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Gragas did not go for a body slam towards the Kaisa. I think he might have been able to get more summoner spells, more out of that, more damage to potentially push her out of the lane, because otherwise she just gets to stay and wait for the wave to crash into her, which is what she did. So
target selection, potentially a question here. But look at this, Ashasi. Yeah, Scott sniffs him out, says, I'm just going to walk over here, check my jungle. Diamond Crevasse was there to back up, so Ashasi still, though, one full level up over Gragas. You always got to think, yes, Gragas gets the kill, but what do you sacrifice for that? You are down slightly in the experience department. I think at the end of the day, you're going to be happy with it, but it's important to know.
I think so, especially because Windchill was able to back and buy double Doran, so he has triple Dorans for the early start, which is a more and more common thing. I don't see it too much with AD carries. I see it more with like mid laners and things like that. But I think AD, it's actually really smart to do. Sustain, you can stay in, get BF and all that. But I think the huge thing is that there was no buy from the Kaisa.
It hasn't backed yet. Nicoya's just stuck around this bottom lane, has tried to catch up in the CS department, but this is slow pushing away. Good position for Windchill to just kind of freeze the lane, especially as Diamond Crevasse even gets the first back. So might look for another Predator gank.
Yeah, and could look for a gank or could look for the first Dragon of game, which has just spawned. If you were to have a situation where now both teams go onto the Dragon, you have a huge disparity in the bottom lanes, because Nekoya wants to get back, wants to go for that early buy, and if Pacific is not careful, that could be an early Earth Drake going over.
Gotta be so careful as Pacific right now. Their decision-making in the early game will dictate a lot of how this mid-game goes. You can't let the Caitlyn get too far ahead or she will be terrifying. But you see the iCarry doing the due diligence here, checking that dragon, trying to clear out some of that vision.
So iCarry should shove another wave and then back and spend all his gold, because he's actually up in CS. He has teleport. I would back, spend that 1,300 gold, pressure the Fizz with your teleport, and then also go for the dragon, because when you use the TP in a manner like that, you make it so that the Fizz, he has to miss more CS. You're way stronger than he is now. You get to shove him harder. If he backs, because you have way more harassing stats, then you can 100% do the dragon, because you know that you'll have numbers.
But instead, it's a 2v2 on the bot side here. Pacific flash forward from Dragon King, trying to get onto Google play card, and they will take him down again. Nicoya used the heal. Will they flash away? The answer is yes, and gets to safety, but still a kill picked up for Pepperdine.
Yeah, and all TPs are still up on the map. We were mentioning before.
Whoa! Oh, the cheesy hook! They stick around and get a second.
Yeah, Pacific just give up absolutely so much there. I was a little bit surprised at the start of the play, because I was looking at top lane. Scott and Nuke and Wei and went already walked back to lane. They had the teleports available, which really signaled to me that both teams were willing to fight to the death over the bottom side of the map. And then when Pepperdine comes down and they have the potential one-man advantage of the double TP versus single TP, they just don't use it. They give up their bot lane, they sack not only the champions, but the summoner spells, and this bot side of the map is firmly in Pepperdine's control.
Yep, there's the Predator in, the flash, basic attack. I think they say, right, there's no reason to TP in. You could potentially TP 2 people down here and actually turn it around. I think that would be the optimal play. But that didn't happen.
Nautilus had W up, and there was still heal available on Windchill, so I like that. You stuck around, abusing the over-aggression of Nikoya for going that far forward into that brush, but no, 1v1 in the mid lane here. iCarry has the ultimate available, pulls him in, is able to get back under that turret, though.
A little bit too late for him to actually ulti there, unfortunately, for iCarry, because they're able to reach the turret. You want to do it before he could actually have range to get to the turret while he's ultied. I think he might be feeling a little bit of pressure on iCarry's side because his team is, 0-3 right now. But also, University of the Pacific, remember, they 2-0'd last time they played Pepperdine. So the 2-0 for them, something they want to keep alive here today and try and make it a quicker series, but that looks like being down 1,700 gold right off the bat is not what iCarry had imagined.
iCarry doing the best to keep his team in this, but also top lane not looking too great for Pacific at this moment. Not a lot of action has happened there, but meanwhile, this Orin has just been farming up a storm over T-Win. So Scott doing so well. He's going to be very tanky once he does join up with those teams. And Orin's the type of top laner where he can just walk from his lane and impact mid lane from halfway through the river.
Yeah, and I like the boot choice as well for him, as well as Win and also Carry, because they recognize that it's primarily magic damage on the other team. Windchill is the only person that's going to be doing really a lot of physical. So building one for their matchup, but also for the game overall. It's a pretty easy boot buy, but I'm happy to see that at this level, that people are very conscious of what they're doing.
And returned, it looks like, going back to your point you made earlier also, the control on the bot side here, Diamond Crevasse, you gotta imagine they're looking for this dragon soon here. They've allowed this freeze to happen under their turret, which has allowed back-to-back ganks, but they're not actually pushing it out and going for that objective yet.
Right, and I think the main thing with that is that there are still not only the TP still on top side of the map, there's so many ultimates, and there's so many ways that Pacific can still respond to it. I think number one for me actually is that mid lane matchup. Having iCarry, who just has complete dominance in the mid lane, just able to have hardcore priority, shove out that wave basically 24/7, and then rotate down to Dragon, basically closes the door on Pepper. So if Pepperdine wants to go ahead and take that Dragon, you need an answer in this mid lane. It's got to be a gank in there, maybe from the top laner like you mentioned, which is of course hard because his name is Mordekaiser, but you need some way to isolate this and allow you to take that neutral.
So far, it's just been a few wards dropped, but neither team has been too concerned about that neutral objective. But checking back in on the jungle clears, Ashasi, level 6 now on the Zag. This is when I'm expecting ganks to come in from the Zag player. So far, been happy to just farm it out, and he's been late to a couple ganks also. We saw on the bot side after Diamond Crevasse went for that second one, Ashasi did show up reactionarily, but I want to see some more progressive action. It's on the Dragon.
They're going straight for it because they know Gragas is on the top side. So there's the TP from Ornn.
Yep.
Ornn could get a really good ulti here. Wait, that's a really weird TP from the Kled. He'd have to ulti right now to get in there.
Yeah, he's way on the
Gragas
back
is
line.
here, though.
It's going to be a front-to-back battle. Both top laners' ults going through. T-Win jumps in, but iCarry's getting locked down in the Mordekaiser ultimate Google Play card. Trying to get that Swain ult. Has the stopwatch as well, but where are the carries? Nikoya's untouched so far. Windchill, they're able to take down Ashasi, and Pepperdine just stat check Pacific. Take the team fight. Nikoya and iCarry are running away, but a double knockup coming in from Scott should secure another. Pepperdine take him down. That's a 3-for-0, 4-for-0. They almost take out iCarry, and they will get this dragon.
Yeah, and that was a play that was started by Pacific. They thought they just had complete control of this side of the map because the Gragas was on the top side. If that was a play just to get the TP out of the Ornn, I buy it. I like that movement. But the thing is, they stay there. They elect to take the 5v5 already with a huge disparity in the team fighting strength of the ADCs early on, and then the Ornn, who is just huge CC, and now Gragas has got some kills too, and absolutely everything just went from bad to worse for this Pacific team.
Yeah, the TP, that's when you would just want to back off. Then that TP is really far out there, and you can see the TP could have been at that one that's on the Dragon, but then ultis, and I feel like they don't really know who to hit here. Ulti's gonna go straight through, knocks up Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa backs up before attacking, goes back in, hits Q, hits heal.
I feel like Google
One
Play
auto.
Card did the most damage in this fight from Pacific side.
Gets knocked up, don't even think he got that second one in. There's the second auto. Okay, then there's the W, misses the W, then has to back up here and throws 2 more. There's the third. So it's just so hard for him to get involved in this.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things, too, is that the main damage carry you're expecting at this point in the game for Pacific is iCarry. And he somewhat counters himself by using the ultimate during the middle of the fight. A lot of people are stacking on top of each other. You almost want to see the multi-man Q looking for the combos E, but with him removing himself and just the safety coming out from the Caitlyn just at a range behind the Swain, there's nothing really to turn that fight over. And this is a point with Pacific, especially with the macro, that I would have liked to see a concession. They have to realize that they are not in control, especially on this bottom side of the map. As I keep kicking over the pause, whatever this is.
You okay there, Return?
I don't
Struggling
know.
a little bit. Here's Beep Boop Bop. The ultimate's thrown out by Dragon King. Trying to get onto Google Play Card. Flash away. Ashasi is here for the re-engage from the team, but there's just no re-engage there. It's a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day, but now Ashasi could be in trouble.
Oh.
Doesn't have the passive available, but is able to limp away under turret.
There's
trade.
some return damage, but it's not going to be enough there. Top lane is the one where I'm going to be looking here because that Ornn is now 2-0-2, and he also has almost twice the CS of this guy who's supposed to be a really aggressive laner, right? Kled thrives by smacking you around.
His ult makes you go forward, not backwards,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, just wanted to check.
Yeah.
It's charge, not retreat.
It's really interesting because Kled is a champion that if you play it and you're not a really like cutthroat aggressive player that plays on a knife's edge, you feel like the champion is weak. And then when you actually play it incredibly aggressively and you take those risks where you're about to remount and you actually make it on, right? Like those types of things are what separate those Kled players that look like monsters.
But unfortunately here is a bit of a team, gank onto the mid lane from iCarry. Top lane and jungler, or support, both come down.
Yeah.
iCarry uses the ultimate just to stay alive. I think you're going to take that as Pepperdine. This gives so much kill potential now for Santa Masi. Although I guess Santa Masi also threw out the Chum the Waters, so trade of ultimates.
Yeah, Diamond, I feel like this is going to be a game where he can pop off and build like full AP. He's 4-0-4, 100% KP.
10 stacks.
Massive 10 stacks was what I was going to mention. Does he go Majais?
Hey, that's, I like that.
If there ever was a game, I think it may be right now, especially with...
Speaking of a game,
Oh.
Good use of the charge to dodge that knockup and to keep your mount for T1. But still, probably going to back here. I think you might be able to catch one more wave as the Ornn is fairly low on mana, but it's just rough for everywhere on the map for University of Pacific.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, that's kind of, when you look at that trade with Ultimate for Ultimate, that's almost a win for Pacific. Because when you're looking at the strength of an Ornn and his Ultimate in a team fight, and then of a Kled and an Ultimate in his team fight, you'd almost rather both the Ultimates be gone if you're the side of Pacific. You don't want Ornn cutting you through. So, maybe it's a small victories, but I think there's got to be a lot more to add up if Pacific's going to take control of this game. They haven't really shown me that they can play the weak side of the map, like knowing that, okay, Grag's on this side, they have control of Dragon, maybe we'll go Herald or something, because they are still fighting basically fire with fire, and until iCarry gets a much lower flamethrower, I don't think they're going to be able to stack up.
I think what they're going to do now on the side of Pepperdine is they're going to bait this bottom lane. They seem to... Diamond really likes this camp.
Yeah.
And he knows the Swain has no flash. So if he can go for a body slam flash, he's going to Predator body slam flash, most likely.
University of the Pacific have had this happen time and time again. They cannot keep this wave frozen where they want it. Oh, if that hook landed. But you have to imagine it's an all-in.
You see Diamond didn't move from the bush, right?
Still has Predator. Still
That's
not
the bait
seen.
bush. And that's the bait bush. It's like, hey, we threw out this hook, so this lane is safe now. Come ahead. Come on up. Grab some tea.
He has been here so long, he has sweepered twice.
Really? Just to make sure,
Yeah.
You never know.
The sweeper seems really low cooldown. I think he has Ingenious Hunter. Yeah, he has Ingenious Hunter, which reduces the cooldown of your trinket as well as your active items by a percentage based on, the people you've killed in the game. And he's killed everybody. So he's killed or assisted. He's killed or assisted on everybody.
Okay, there we go. That's important.
It's really, really low.
Oh, look at this 1v1 from iCarry. Ultimate now thrown out there. also getting in onto the Dragon Pit. Teleport comes through here. Swain trying to get in there, but so far it's Pepperdine controlling the Dragon. They are able to secure it. Can they win the fight after? iCarry is able to take one down. It's a double kill for the carry mid laner. They lose the Dragon, but I feel like Pacific win that fight.
Yeah, Pacific does win that fight. They got 3 kills for 0. They didn't lose anybody. They got the Zac passive, and that's all they dropped. But now I think iCarry is going to have a really good time here because he's actually got stats from the Nautilus temporarily. He's going to push this up, but he's also hit that point where you get the Rylai's. You're very tanky. You slow everybody down. You're a team fight menace. And you can see here,
yeah, with
Fizz is trying to get away. Actually ultis the Nautilus here, decides, you know what? Nautilus flashes away, kills him. Doesn't matter that there's TPs on the backside here because you just watch what iCarry's doing in this fight.
Yeah, and
walking straight at him.
And it's also the fact that for Pepperdine, they were so split on their focus the majority of the fight. You had 2 members, especially the main damage dealer in Windchill right now, who still wasn't really on to too many items, focusing on the Dragon. Everyone else from Pacific was going ahead, taking that fight, and by the time that Windchill was ready to turn and fight, there was no front line to stand behind. Same thing with the Gragas. Main damage dealer of the fight wasn't really involved with it, so split focus does end up giving Pacific back a little bit into the game. 2 Dragons still on the other side, but now with Infernal, there's going to be a soul to fight for and potentially just a few Dragons.
This is definitely the carry that you want to get those kills, though. iCarry 2-0-1.
It's in the name.
Getting towards that second item completed. Once that Leandri's is there, ooh, he's kind of looking for something. Yeah, there's really no follow-up on that play.
That's really just a get out of my lane kind of ultimate. That's a how do you do right there. I don't think there was really any intention to cancel the slingshot, but
we call this a stat check. You're just like, yeah, how much does my ult do? Let's just check it out. Okay, good. Noted.
Limit testing. I think that's
there we go. Yeah, limit testing.
Maybe a little bit less aggressively than
Diamond Crevasse. Might be looking for something again.
Well, I don't think they win.
Oh, here we go. iCarry again. Ulting quite late.
Yeah.
Does he want to go under turret? Diamond Crevasse is there now. He's going to come out into the Death Realm soon. But here comes the jungler to back him up. Diamond Crevasse is in trouble now. Almost locked down, but still quite tanky. Throws out the explosive cast and will get away.
Yeah, if Carry had actually ultied sooner, it would have been better again. I think he's waiting a long time. I think he kind of wins half a trade, then he ulties instead of ulting and then just cycling cooldowns twice in it. He kind of cycles cooldowns, then ulties, and then waits for them to waits for his cooldowns to come back up during it.
It's also important to note that this is the first time these players are getting a chance at the...
Here's a 1v1 happening on the top side as T-Nguyen trying to do his best. But being behind in a full item, basically, you got the Tiamat, you got the Phage components into that upgraded Sunfire cape that Scott's packing.
It's
almost
a lot of
lost
gold
that
to be
top
down,
turret also,
actually. It's a lot of gold to be down.
Yeah, and the fact that T1 actually went to go ahead with the Tiamat, which isn't too off of, normal build. You want to have the pushing ability in the laning phase. But the fact that he has to split that with his Black Cleaver means that you are waiting so much longer for the armor penetration, and already you're not really dealing damage into the Ornn, and now you're going to be doing even less damage into the Ornn, who also has a cape on fire.
And has the Demolish, so Scott's able to take down that turret by himself.
Big payday for him.
And also able to win that trade here, but T-Win now still doesn't have that Black Cleaver completed, but got the Kindle Gem, so the CDR will help. Oh, time.
Yeah, Scott's
alcove.
It's the alcove. Oh, Ashasi actually goes for the gank first, but again, they can just turn it. A deletion of Nagoya. That's at AP Gragas, but can Pacific do anything else? iCarry teleports in, gets blasted closer to the Nautilus. Diamond Crevasse survives for just long enough that the shutdown comes through. And there we go. Chum the Waters lands onto Ashasi, but they turn their attention onto the support. Ashasi can't go anywhere. Santomasi chasing him down. Should be able to get the double kill, and there it is.
Yeah, Carry had about 10 more seconds before his ultimate is up. It's up now, so he wasn't able to avoid that damage after he got knocked in. He would have been able to ulti maybe the Nautilus, get a kill there, and then afterwards finish the Gragas off, but there's no such ability up just then.
Yeah, and right now, Pepperdine is certainly in the assertive position. It's Pacific trying to make a response play. With the 3v3 already, it's looking great. But this is a concept in League I like to call choosing your Alamo. You need to choose when to make your last stand and use some of those abilities that'll get you back into the game. Teleport definitely being a big one. They throw iCarry down here, doesn't work out, and now they're left down members down these kills, down a teleport with not much left to follow up on. Good roam coming through to match from the Fizz. And I like how he's predicting the distance on the... He sees the football being thrown, he's already running after to go catch it, and then is rewarded with a nice double kill at the end. But
I don't know how that Chum of the Waters got through that wave also. That was some American Sniper stuff going on there. But while that replay was going, mid lane was taken here by the side of Pepperdine.
It attaches to the first champion.
yeah, it doesn't hit minions.
Oh, it doesn't?
Nope.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, look at that.
That's why Fizz is really strong.
Okay. Well, that would make more sense.
Whoa.
Colonel Drake started up
that
here. I don't know what that animation is on there. That's, oh, wow.
It's the water seeping into the cracks.
Is this like, what is it called? It's from Terraria. What's that purple like sludge that corrupts the land?
I don't know.
It's the crossover event that we've all been waiting for.
It's the purple sludge. Yeah, Terraria meets League of Legends. I mean, that's basically Ornn, right? You know, he's mining for resources. He's building up his items. I've never played Terraria either. So.
I played it for like maybe an hour, and then I was like, I'm going back to League.
I think that's the wiser choice.
It's one of those days.
Yeah. You just gotta try it out. You know, see what all the hype is about.
Yeah.
Oh, the Rune Ward being taken out here by Dragon. Did we settle? Is that the Rune?
I don't think
rush?
we're settled on it.
It's also a tombstone.
Is that a gravestone?
And there's like a stump. So there's three defining
Well,
features
the other
to
side
it.
is going to be different, though. If we would go to the other blue buff,
I don't know if
right?
we've actually seen that blue buff yet this game.
I don't think so.
Not a lot of actions happening over there.
I mean, it's because Scott's been pushed in the whole time, so you're always looking at, that whole thing.
But we'll see. Again, we're being vigilant in our checking of that. Seems like University of Pacific, they're trying to group up now. They're almost a little paranoid of getting engaged upon in these side lanes like they have been. And with all their outer turrets taken, it's turning into a little bit of an ARAM.
Classic North America. It's the NARAM, we like to call it. But yeah, I mean, for Pacific, it's really just kind of struggling to find out exactly where they want to be putting this gold. The fact that they're actually all standing in this wave, basically fighting for CS, does concern me a little bit because you still have a Kai'Sa who you want to be getting farm. iCarry, still your main carry, has completed the Andre's Torment, so can, I guess, let off a little bit, but when he's the closest thing you have to an actual carry, you just want to be feeding him as much as possible right now. And if this just keeps in an ARM portion, I don't really see a way that Pepperdine continues to lose fights. The only thing I can see happening is iCarry maybe like finds a great ultimate, gets great stats, and then is just giant raid boss, but
yeah,
I don't see that being the likely outcome.
The dragons really matter because Pepperdine now has 3, so as soon as they get the next one, it'll be the Infernal Soul.
And here's a play. Here we go, Santomasi trying to get in the 1v1 against Nikoya, but Ashasi is there to back up. It's a trade of kills, but that assassin still does insane damage.
Yeah, he does get shut down, though, so that's a good news kind of thing there for Osashi. Osashi?
Oshasi, yep.
Oshashi?
There's only one H. Oshasi.
Oshasi.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those tongue twisters, though. Yeah, you gotta love those names. But here's another play happening in the mid lane. iCarry in trouble. Google Playcard cannot help out his mid laner, but iCarry trying to get the 1v1 on Dragon King, but it's just not gonna last long enough. There's the depth charge coming through, and iCarry does go down. Oshasi trying to turn it around again, making the hero play, but it's just not meant to be. Will go down in the passive, and Pepperdine a triple to Windchill.
And I want to see the replay on that because I am 99.9% sure the claw out of Mordekaiser after his death actually just pulled members out of the way of the Zac. I'm fairly certain that's good. I don't think that would have changed the outcome of the fight, but
that was Oshasi's pentakill right there.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It just pours a little bit of salt in the wound, but now no jungler, no carry mid laner. There's absolutely nothing stopping Pepperdine from taking this Baron, and with Baron, you not only have complete control of the lane, push, but you also got control of the
There's 2 champions that might be able to stop, and we got Nikoya and T-Win here. No, not meant to be. Baron secured by Pepperdine. They already had the gold lead. Now they have the push lead as well.
Yeah, and iCarry's going to be the first one in this fight. Needs to be able to kill the target that he ults, because he needs to quickly grab those stats, re-enter the fight, and be the monster, but just gets locked in almost instantly. And then, it doesn't get pulled out of the way.
But I really like what Dragon King did there, is he waited to ulti. He ran all the way to the side, waited until it was about to wear off, then he ultied so that Mordekaiser would be CC'd when he came out of it, and everybody could just jump on it.
Buying time for the team as that tanky Nautilus to help take down iCarry. 3, 2, and 1 now. Hasn't completed a third item, so Pacific Again, their playstyle was playing around this key carry mid laner. I don't know what's going on with that animation. That is still just crazy to me.
It's searching. It's a radar for dragons.
It is. It's pulsating now. Look at that. But you can see the effect of the elemental terrain on the rest of Summoner's Rift. Some of those walls going away. I'm curious, how much do you think this really affects dragon taking when there's less terrain there?
I think it actually affects it a lot. Baron as well, mostly because the walls that change is the blue buff wall. That one in particular means instead of going all the way around, if somebody gets caught on the left side of it, you can just walk straight to the other side. So if somebody comes down that normal ramp right to the dragon, they get pushed up, then instead of having to enter on that side, they can then just set up a flank by going, oh, I'm going to the bush side of this. And in Baron, that really matters. Because how many times have you approached a Baron with your team being split?
Oh, that was well put, Zyrene. Thank you for that breakdown. But unfortunately, not as well for T-Win. Getting soloed in the top lane by Scott here. This Ornn is just
massive.
Rampaging.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
That's a good pun.
Rampaging?
Yeah.
Did I make a pun? I didn't even know it.
What are the first 3 letters of that word?
Hey. See, I'm getting it now. Thank you. I didn't know I was this funny, Zyrene.
I know.
I need you around to explain my jokes to everybody.
Well,
I'm comedy gold. I just don't understand.
So why do you think Freak kept me around? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no. Oh, here we go. Another team fight. Another easy pickup for a kill as Nikoya does go down. Maybe Ashazi can turn something around, but there's just no damage behind the engage. They're too far behind in gold. A double kill comes through for the support of all people, and Pepperdine take all but one. They're going to march down this mid lane with the Baron-empowered minions, and you gotta imagine this is game.
Yeah, the Soul, the Baron-empowered minions, they have just completely destroyed Pacific in this first game.
Turret will fall.
Follow me!
T-Win's going on a little victory lap or a loss lap. I'm not sure what to call that one. Either way, not going to be present to watch his Nexus fall, but it will go down. And game 1 going over to Pepperdine. I'm calling it right now. Still 100% success rate on the predictions when my analysts disagree with me.
It's actually incredible because they had 2-0'd before, but in this game, Pepperdine goes, do you remember that 2-0? Pepperdine University remembers.
Pepperdine University definitely remembered. I think that the fans had something to cheer behind in that game in particular. All lanes doing incredibly well. iCarry was not able to get a significant advantage in that 1v1, so it allowed the jungler to play around top and bot lane, get the team ahead, and then they just grouped up and won team fight after team fight after team fight.
And that top lane's going to look like it's an issue because the Ornn into the matchup that they had where Kled was picked first seems really interesting that the Kled wasn't that aggressive. If he was picking that blind and he still felt like he could play it into anything, yeah, he's mistaken because the Ornn is able to be way tankier, does more damage in the trades early. I know people complain about tanks that do damage, but in that matchup in particular, it's one where you have to be really aggressive at the beginning of the game and you have to land every single Q.
We talked about, the most political top lane of 2 farming champions. Ornn is a tank, but definitely not a political tank. You're up in people's faces. You're getting aggressive. You're fighting.
It could be political.
It could be political. I guess it depends on the politics of the country involved. But it wasn't just the top lane. That was huge for Pepperdine. Don't get me wrong. But that bot lane, I also was very impressed with how much they were able to get ahead and how they were able to control the wave. It was constantly pushing in. They froze it right at the turret, which allowed gank after gank to come through.
Yeah, and I think you had to give big credit to Diamond because he was the one that really set the pace of the game. His early ganks, his ganks down bottom, him helping his team get first blood, having so many stacks and additional damage meant that he was very easy for the Gragas to blow people up, and he didn't suffer from the Gragas issue where the game gets higher and higher in damage, and he doesn't get too much higher in durability, more in terms of his AP damage and some damage reduction, but his durability overall doesn't go up that much as the game progresses.
One of those final ganks at the bottom there, just one shot, the Kai'Sa. Absolutely beautiful to watch. But to take a closer look at the game, we're going to send it over to Returned, who can break down one of the key team fights.
Thank you, guys. We're going to look at one of the early dragons of the game where Pepperdine not only used their macro sense to set up a perfect play, but also used their individual mechanical skills to outclass the likes of Pacific, and here we go. So before we get into this one, let's take a quick stock of where exactly we are on the map. We got 3 people with TP. We got the Mordekaiser, we got the Kled, and then we, of course, have the Orin on the enemy team. But do note that this was a play begun by Pacific. So they're down this bottom side, noticing that this Gragas is up here on the top side of the map. Now here you have two options from Pacific. You either try to bait out as something like a TP and retreat, or you go all in, try to take the dragon out before they can respond, and it's their split decisions here that do end up costing them at the end. So let's go ahead and start this one up. So before anything comes through, you have I carry Ososhi and the bot lane duo coming on up, but here is where things definitely start to turn. Double TPs coming through, plus Gragas crossing over the mid lane means that you're about to have basically a 4v5. If you want to take the fight here from Pacific, you gotta go in. A little bit far of a TP for the Kled, but you need to try to take something before the Gragas even shows up, or if you're gonna retreat, there's the door. But with TP spent, you basically have to make this one count. And it actually is very interesting because there are a few members from Pacific who do fantastic jobs, as we are now going to see as we play it on through, to run this fight. So if you're Pacific and you really want to win this fight, you have to do your best to really separate out this backline, give room for your Mordekaiser to take over the fight, and then run it through. But as we play on out, you have a little bit of a backline dive coming out from T-Wen, but it is more of the performance from Google Play card that actually does buy them some time. As you can see right here, with this ultimate plus the Zhonya's right in the middle of the fight, you create this zone where all of a sudden Caitlyn can't really get past that area. The only person she can auto-attack realistically at this point is anyone who gets close enough, or the Scuttle Crab. So now you have room to potentially find this fight through, but unfortunately for them, iCarry is already in the ultimate, isn't able to find the kill quick enough to get the bonus stats, and therefore, as you guys are going to see, as the play does run to its conclusion, is unable to really take the damage back. It was already a disadvantageous fight for Pacific, and a great way for Pepperdine to pounce on the opponents being out of position and then just run it through. And once the cards start falling, once the Google Play cards start falling, everything just completely collapses. Kai'Sa's not ready. iCarry is unable to carry the team through, and Pepperdine goes up 1-0 in the series. Back to you guys on the desk.
And that was just one of many team fights, I think, that went the way of Pepperdine because of target selection, because of how much damage per second they were able to output as opposed to Pacific. And also, even touching back on the draft, I mean, we predicted this a little. It's just the amount of team fight CC and lockdown that Pepperdine had would definitely be an advantage towards them.
Yeah, and I think that it was really well identified that the top lane was going to be something that they just left alone and the Ornn did well in. And then that Diamond was able to help out the bottom side of the map. The Caitlyn being the only physical damage dealer, the one that they need to protect and CC for, I thought was really massive. And you can freak out about that mid lane and go like, oh no, this is like a matchup where he's going to get shoved in, not have priority. It's going to be an issue for us. We'll lose dragons. But instead, he just can't bottom lane. He really did set up a tent there. He just sat in that bush for minutes at a time and made sure that they were dead and made sure that his Nautilus was freed up to roam. So it might be that jungle support synergy in this team that's really going to push them over the line and make them get to the finals. But I think the criticism I have of Pacific here is they didn't do enough with their mid lane priority early. He was shoving the Fizz in, and he didn't really get involved in those fights until later. And I also think that the top laner was a little bit too reserved with his teleports.
Yeah, felt like teleport advantage on the side of Pacific is never something we actually saw to fruition. But we'll see if they can shore that up as we get prepared for game number 2, also looking at the draft. But make sure that you join in on the fun by signing the AnyKey pledge, a GLHF pledge rather, brought to us by AnyKey. We're going to have more information about that later on in the show, but make sure you go and check out the website right now. We'll be back with more League of Legends action coming up next.